Before leaving California yesterday, Dabo Swinney was asked if his team, if Clemson, his school now, could be considered a dynasty. And I suppose of all the different people to weigh in on this, his opinion probably means the most. Here's what he said.
But we're a long way from a dynasty. I think from a dynasty standpoint, you know, Alabama's kind of in a category of their own. I mean, Coach Saban, won five national championships in 10 years, or however long he's been there. It's incredible, the run that they've had. But we're just thankful that we've got the opportunity to experience it. But to be able to win 2 out of the last 3, you know, I think that certainly puts us in a place that's pretty special from a program standpoint.
All right, so no coach in history has ever sat there and said, oh, yeah, we're a dynasty. But in your opinion, are they?
Absolutely. I don't know how many championships you have to get to a dynasty, but Dabo can miss me with this all shucks baloney.
Ooh. Good catch. Go on.
Because, I mean, they are a dynasty. We saw recently that the best player in the state of Alabama chose to go to their school. They're a destination school. They are competitive with Alabama. I'm not sure that he would ever say that they're a dynasty, but they're there.
Laura, you cover this stuff every single day. You've had a day to digest it since we talked yesterday. In your mind, are they now the equivalent or the equal of Alabama at the top of the heap in college football?
They are. And I think that's different than being a dynasty. I would actually say, and I don't want to take anything away from what they've done because it's incredible over these past few years. And to go in to that game against Big Bad Alabama and be able to do what they did against them from a coaching standpoint and playing standpoint was exceptional. They've done that over the past few years a couple of times. They're not a dynasty yet, though. They're a dynasty junior right now, and they're getting close to being a dynasty. Close to it.
Junior? They've
Dynasty
now done it with
junior.
2 different quarterbacks, right? I mean, they did it with Watson.
You.
They've been in the playoff 4 years in a row.
Right.
They've won 2 out of 3 championships and lost 1 very close. It's the same coach all the way through.
Dynasty.
I don't know. I don't know how we're defining. Go ahead.
They're
You be the
close.
deciding vote on this, D. Wood.
I think because of the standard that Nick Saban has set, you have a different perspective of what a dynasty looks like.
Yeah.
I think Clemson is knocking on the door, but when you enter that, you got to enter that rare air, which is the way the accomplishments that Nick Saban has had. I think that's when I would feel more comfortable with calling it a dynasty. But I will say this: an issue that Nick Saban and Alabama has moving forward, the turnover on their coaching staff.
Yeah.
I think to me, and I think you saw it play out more so than in the national championship game.
Right.
Because it's clearly everyone probably saw with their own eyes that Nick Saban, that coaching staff, got out-coached. And there's something to be said for the stability that Dabo Swinney has with that Clemson coaching staff. Because, listen, Alabama keeps getting all these 5-star recruits or whatever.
All right, they're out-recruiting Alabama.
And Nick Saban's the head of it. Mm-hmm. But a lot of 5-star recruits go to these programs because of a certain coach or a certain coordinator. Mm-hmm. And if you keep having turnover the way that Alabama does, it's going to chip away at you a little bit. So I think that's something that Alabama's going to have to address.
Yeah, I mean, Alabama's pitch to their players is the same as their pitch to their coaches. This is just a spot that you can come for a little bit. You're going to bounce off of this to a better situation. That's still a good pitch. They still had the #1 recruiting class over the last
6 of the last 8 years.
And last season, they had the #1 recruiting class. So, I mean, to the original point, Clemson is a dynasty, and I do think it's because of those coaches. They're better at player development than Alabama if you consider they've had worse recruiting classes and been just as competitive.
One more thing I want you to hear. Our friend Paul Feinbaum, of course, hosts the enormous radio show, Laura's the regular. And after Alabama's drubbing the other night, we needed just to hear some of the phone calls from yesterday.
Whether I want to be or whether you want me to be, I am here, yes.
The Alabama defensive backfield couldn't cover a sofa this whole year.
If we'd have got the draw that Clemson got, that high school team Notre Dame, we might have had something left.
Oh, Larry.
Listen, Paul, I don't want to gloat, but I will. All I had in my mind was Otis Redding, because I was just sitting on the dock of the bay watching that tide roll away.
How was the Alabama fan base? How did they feel?
I'm not happy, Paul. Not happy. Not happy. Not happy.
Look at it any way you want to.
Fabio kicked our ass.
Go damn Tide. How about that, fine bomb?
Hey, that was Jerome from Birmingham, by the way. That last call,
My
Jerome.
man.
He never leaves the show without roll tide, bomb, bomb.
Long live sports. Look, that's what makes it great. And you live and die with this stuff. And the other night they died, but they will be back. If you bet against Nick Saban right now, I'll gladly take a piece of the other side.